need a coach. You don't need a coach.
Yes, people, welcome to the last episode of 2020. I only just started my live 1 month ago. It's barely 4 weeks ago now. And listen, it's been a very tough year for everyone. I guess everyone is getting used to new ways of living, staying indoors more often, not going clubbing. People can't go to their religious places. It's been a difficult year. But one thing I'm happy about is the fact that I'm actually here to tell you about it. I'm actually here to talk. Some people I started this year with did not end up to see the end of it. So it's something to be glad about. This is going to be a very short one, just to look over a few things happening in the world of football, not just restricted to Arsenal, but beyond Arsenal. I'm sure you guys have seen, most of you might have seen the caption talking about Neymar today. And I'm also going to be talking about Kolasinac, because Kolasinac is leaving Arsenal back to where he came from, which is Schalke. Listen, I'm going to say it again. I'm really, really glad I got to the end of this year. I'm sure most of you are glad as well. Some of the guys that have been coming to my my live for the last few weeks that I've started, I really want to thank you guys. Some of you that contributed, some of you that commented, some of you that just viewed it a few seconds. I still appreciate you guys, really. But listen, we're just going to get straight to business, isn't it? So we're going to be talking about Neymar, we're going to be talking about Kolasinac, we're going to be talking about Lampard, and I think that's going to be it for the year. So the news goes by the saying that Neymar was partying. Now, we don't know how true that is, but I'm just going to bring up a few clips here right now. Yep, that's Neymar on your screen. Well, the rumor goes that he hosted a party in Brazil, and we don't know how true that is, but what they said was he was hosting a party from Christmas Day up to the New Year Day, and he had about 150 guests. Now, in as much as that sounds absurd, which I think it is, if actually he did it, he needs to be punished for it. But he's come out to say he didn't do it. So basically, he's denied ever having anything to do with it. Brazil has the second highest number of deaths in COVID. So if Neymar is found guilty of doing this, because now an investigation has kicked off into whether or not he did that party. If Neymar did this, then I think he should really be punished, because that's going to be really stupid and careless of him to be doing a party, especially in an area that is as volatile as Brazil when it comes to the COVID cases. He was able to, according to the stories, he brought some models. I don't know if this is true, but there's some beautiful models in here, what money can do. And the rumor is that he flew most of them from Miami, from Barcelona. Wow, they're looking really pretty, isn't it? But yeah, we're not here to talk about how pretty they are, but the fact that he held the party. Most of these people are well-known models that travel all the way from Barcelona and Miami. And according to passerbys, they saw them going in and out of his guest house. Whether that's true or not, that's yet to be seen. Wow, this is getting crazy in here. Anyways, listen. I'm just telling the news here. I'm not checking out the girls or anything. I'm just checking the news. I'm just telling you guys what's happening out there. Also, in the world of English Premier League, there's been calls for Lampard to be sacked. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the club has come out to back him, to say that they don't want him to be sacked. Let's see. I think I have a comment here. Gunnar's dad. Hi, Gunnar's dad. Happy New Year to you. Yeah, so as I was saying, there's been calls for Lampard to be sacked here. I got some screenshots online where people were saying, sack him in the tunnel. I've not witnessed anything more embarrassing in 15 years of watching Chelsea. Another person here says, put your hand up if this is embarrassing. We'll now leave to Kepa on the bench. I think there are more on here. Here it says, I wish we sack Lampard and bring in Poch. Another one says here, Lampard, you are not a legend anymore. You're a traitor to Chelsea FC and Chelsea fans. Listen, I don't really understand fans, man. I don't know how fans, get angry so easily and start saying stuff. Gunnar's dad, happy New Year to you too. Thanks, Gunnar's dad. Thanks a lot. Keep up the good work. Thanks for being a contributor on here as well. I really appreciate it. So as I was saying, Lampard, you are not a legend anymore. You're a traitor to Chelsea FC and Chelsea fans. I don't really get this. Yes, you're angry and all that, but how would you say such a thing that he's a traitor? How is he a traitor? I don't know. If something is not working out for someone, does that mean he's a traitor? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Do you know what I mean? I think my mic is a bit adjusted. I don't know if you guys can hear me a bit better. But how is he a traitor? He's a traitor all because he's not doing well in the league. He's actually 6th position. Maybe we should exchange positions with you guys, Chelsea fans, and then maybe you have something else to talk about. You guys are 6th position. You have 7 points away from Liverpool. And let's be real, this season is a bit tough for everybody. It's a bit tough. If you lose one game, you might drop 3 points. You might drop 3 places down. If you win one game, you might go 3 places up. That's how the league is. So I don't really understand why these guys are saying they should sack him. But at the end of the day, the club has actually come out to support him. They're not sacking Lampard anytime soon, which for me is a good thing because I think we fans overreact, to be honest with you. Moving on to transfers. We've all seen the news today that Kolasinac has agreed to go back to where he came from, which is Schalke. That was where he started his professional career in 2012. Honestly, I couldn't really believe that he started his professional career in 2012. That shows how young he is. And he was able to take a pay cut as well. So kudos to him for doing that. He hasn't had enough, playing time right here in Arsenal. And let's be real, he's not been as good as he was in the first season. So Gunners that here says it was always a tough job for him to take. And the fact Roman has spent so much money applies even more pressure to him. Think Lampard should have kept faith in the youth as that got him to top 4. Listen, bro, I still think he kept faith in the youth. Let's be real. Most of the players in the team are still the young players. Even if England fans don't like the likes of Mount, for instance, Mount has always been a mainstay in his team. Sometimes he kicks him out of the team, but he brings him back. You still have Abraham. Tammy Abraham is someone that stuck with him as well from Derby. I think Mount and Derby were 2 players that played for him. So I think he's still keeping with the youths. And Werner is still a young player. Kai Havertz is a young player. Ziyech is still a young player. So I think he still kept faith in many of the youths. But things have not been working out for him exactly how he wanted it. Let's be real. The last 5 games now, he has only won 1. He's lost 3 of them and drawn 1. I think he drew to Aston Villa, lost to us, lost to Everton, lost to Wolves. And I think the one was the West Ham. The one West Ham, and that was not convincing as well. Let's be real. So at the end of the day, we fans, I think one thing about we fans is we get really, really emotional. For me, what that guy says, saying he's a traitor, doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Absolutely no sense. Nelson Franklin here says, what do you think about the Costa being linked to Arsenal? Bruv, I already posted on my Instagram, and I think I did a video on Diego Costa. I was a few days ago, and I was like, yes, I think he's a good player, there's no doubt, but for me, I don't want him in the club. I don't want him in the club. I don't know if you watched that video, but in that video, I talked about some of the old players we've had in Arsenal. Players like, I don't know how old you are, but I hope you're old enough. Players like Scolacci, players like Silvestra, players like which other player did I name? Lichtsteiner that came in. Players like Kim Karlstrom. All these guys were old guys. They didn't offer much for us. Diego Costa is 32. He's 32. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's a good idea for us to be going for Diego Costa, in my opinion. Nelson Franklin, will you take him for a 6-month loan? No, I wouldn't take him for a 6-month loan. Honestly, I want Arsenal to spend their money wisely. The problem with Arsenal is the fact that recently we've been spending money. We've been spending money more than what we've been doing in the past few years, but we've not been spending the money the right way. We've been spending it very, very badly. Very badly. We happen to have one of the highest wage bills in Arsenal Football Club. But look at the quality that we're getting on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? I think we're number 3 or number 4 in terms of wage bill. And we're in 13th position right now. It's not because we have a bad coach, in my opinion. 2 coaches have come or 3 coaches have come, and we've been playing crap. So that tells me that the quality of players are not befitting. Bellerin, for instance, is probably, I think, is the 3rd or 4th highest paid player in Arsenal. Can you imagine that? Bellerin is like the 4th highest paid player in Arsenal Football Club. This is someone that you guys want out of the club. This is someone that you feel is not good enough, but he's like the 4th highest paid in the club. So the question is, I think he's paid 130, I think. So with 130K and what you're seeing on the pitch, I don't think they really match. Do you know what I mean? I've said it already that, listen, if Barcelona wants him, he should go. I'm going to help him. I'm going to take him to the airport straight up. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, all I'm going to say is I'm happy that Kolasinac is leaving. That's the door. That's the door that he went through. I think I was there when he was passing this door, actually. Yeah. He went the left-hand side when he went through this door. So, good luck to him, really. And the door is open for more people that want to get out. The door is always open. We're not going to close this door until we get all the deadwood out of the club, until we get all the wet firewood out of the club. And what do I mean by wet firewood? I always use this saying that you cannot make fire out of wet firewood. The coaches cannot make fire out of wet firewood, which simply means we have a lot of wet firewood in this club. So this door, I'm going to be using this door a lot in most of my videos now. Yes, this door is going to be kept open for a long time, probably to the summer, until we're able to get rid of a lot of people to get out of this club, because that's the only way forward. And then, talking about the door is also open to get someone in. And who is that? Buendia. Is it Buendia? I think it's Buendia from Norwich. Gunners that said, I'll be happy for Arsenal to use the youth this season rather than spend money for the sake of it on rubbish. Yeah, you know what you just said made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense. So what you're saying indirectly is, if you cannot get quality out there, you rather rely on the youth, which makes sense. But that doesn't mean we don't still need good players in the club. We still need good players in the club. There is no doubt about that. We need good players in the club. We still need to go out there and get good players. I've seen a little bit of the clips of Buendia, but one thing about clips is clips could be deceiving, okay? But at the same time, this guy seems to be the real deal based on what everyone has been saying and how he's really helped them so far. Excuse me, how he's really helped them so far in Norwich. I've forgotten what club he came from. I know he came from Spain, a Spanish club. He's an Argentinian player. I can't remember what club he came from now. I can't remember what club he came from. But one thing about this guy, he can play anywhere in the attack. He can play on the right side. He can play on the left side. He can play in the middle. His coach presently plays him on the right side, but they give him a bit of freedom. And that's why when he's playing, he kind of loses the hand. He loses the handbrake and just drifts and has a free roll, more or less. But when they're on the defensive, his main position is on the right-hand side. So he's spoken to his coach. His coach knows that, listen, this guy is a player that you just need to let go. And the little clips I've seen from him shows that the guy is quite creative. He's very, very skillful. He can beat a man. He can take a game by the scruff of the neck. And I think he has about 6 assists this season. And guess what? Since 2018, since he came into England, he has created the most chances in England top 4 leagues, which simply means he's created more chances than Kevin De Bruyne and Grealish. So this guy is not a joke. Those stats don't really tell you a lie. They tell you the truth. But at the same time, like I say, stats could be deceiving. But in terms of what I've seen from him, I think he's someone that's going to fit in properly into Arsenal. He's one player that we really need right now in the club. Nelson Franklin, I just got off Turkish live video, and he says players like AML, Nketiah, Holding, Chambers, Bellerin, Luis. Oh, yeah. Listen, I kind of agree. I agree. Simple answer, bruv. That's the answer. The door. Let's be real. The only reason why everyone is shouting and screaming for Maitland-Niles is because Bellerin is not good enough. So if you think about it, we have a very bad player, but we are looking for the best out of the bad stock. Maitland-Niles, for me, it's not someone you're going to say he's going to save you or he's going to save your season. I mean, the players that we should be attracting are players like Kimmich. You get me? Those are the kind of players we should be attracting in the club. I look at Lamptey, for instance. Lamptey is very, very impressive. Lamptey is freaking impressive. I see how he plays. I've seen his intelligence on the ball, and he's a very smallish guy, but he's very, very intelligent on the ball. And the problem I have with Maitland-Niles is the fact that he's inconsistent. When he plays well, he plays really, really well. You're very impressed. Do you know what I mean? When he doesn't, he seems a bit sluggish. And one thing I want to remind people, I've seen a lot of people saying stuff online, saying they want him to play in the central midfield. But a lot of people seem to forget the game that we played against Östersund, which was under Arsene Wenger. This guy started in the central midfield. And if you guys remember, we had to take him off in that game to bring Xhaka. The same Xhaka that people were complaining about. When they brought Xhaka back into that team that day, there was a major difference. They had to remove Islam because he was shambolic in that game in the central midfield. And people seem to see his performance in the Europa and think he's going to do the same in the central midfield in the Premier League. They're not the same thing. They're not. So the only reason people, even me, I've been crying that we should play is in Metanas. Why? Because Bellerin is that bad. Do you know what I mean? Nelson Franklin said, and if Oba is still not performing by 2020, he should be sold. What do you think about that? Listen, first and foremost, I was happy that we signed. We gave him a new contract. However, I was skeptical. What do I mean? I was skeptical in the sense that this guy was 31, and what he did was he got a very good deal from the club, because many people that are in that age, 31 or 32, it's quite hard to get that kind of contract. Do you know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons why that contract was delayed before he signed it. It was delayed because he wanted to get something that was best for him. He wanted to get something that was best for him. And now that he's gotten it, he has the power over the club. The only way the club can get rid of him now is if they're going to pay him off with a big amount of payoff, which they're not going to be willing to do. So that's one of the reasons that contract took time. He was looking for the best deal, because it's going to be his best deal before he retires, except he goes to China from Arsenal. But this is going to be the best deal for him in any top flight league. So that's one of the reasons. And now, if we want to sell him, the only people that will be willing to buy him is probably China or the MLS. Do you know what I mean? Which is going to be very tough as well. So he's probably meeting the likes of this Chelsea player that left, Oscar. Probably going to meet the likes of Oscar to go and make some money. Gunnar's dad said, I have to agree or disagree on AML. Do you remember the game against Manchester United? Which game against Manchester United? You mean the one that we won? The last game we won in November. Now, it's so interesting that you said, do you remember the game against Manchester United? I don't go by just one performance. I go by consistency. Do you know what I mean? I can easily tell you now, do you remember the game that Bellerin played for Chelsea, against Chelsea in the FA Cup? Most games that this guy plays against Chelsea, he plays very well, Bellerin. I think he scored a couple of goals in the last 2 or 3 years against Chelsea. So there are several games I can pick from each of these players and say they did well. And there's several games I can pick and say these guys, they didn't perform. And that's just the reality. I don't want a situation whereby I have so many games to pick and say you don't perform, and so many games to pick and say you perform. It doesn't make any sense to me. You need to be consistent at a high level. Do you know what I mean? We need to be consistent. Before I answer this comment, just to add to what I just said, if you think about it, the reason why Ozil, for instance, who I have my own reservations about, and I also have my praise for him in certain aspects, the reason why Ozil is having so many divisions among the fans is because there's a lot of things he doesn't do well. Let's be real. And there are so many things he does well. Now, the question now is, does the good outweigh the bad, or does the bad outweigh the good? And whenever we don't do well, so many of his weaknesses shows, which is the defensive side of his game. Because in so many games whereby we are playing Ozil, for instance, whereby we're not playing well, everyone needs to be behind the ball. And that's where his weaknesses show. And people get angry at him. But in a game where we play well, Ozil will shine because he doesn't have to do the defensive duties. And this is what is causing the division, for instance. So the reason why there's division when it comes to, these players, the likes of Islam Etanaus and the likes of Ozil, for instance, there's split opinions about these players, is because you can see so many weaknesses in these players. I have never seen where fans are fighting over the likes of De Bruyne, for instance, saying, oh, you hear some fans saying he's not good enough, he's not doing this, or David Silva, for instance. or Muller, for instance, in Germany, or even Robben, or even Ribery, all these players. You never heard people saying, so the level of bad things you hear is minimal. So the question is, why is it that there's a split opinion about Ozil? There has to be a truth in both situations. We just need to take it the way it is. So Gunnar's dad here says Colin Chambers was voted players of the season for Fulham, playing as a DM. Yet we will never be given a chance for Arsenal. Come on, Gunnar's dad. Come on, Gunnar's dad. Listen. Let me ask you: Do you rate Colin Chambers? Do you go by just one game? Do you go by just one game or one few games that he plays where he does well? Every single player in Arsenal has done well in certain games. They've done well in certain games. You get me? But they're not consistent. They are not consistent. And this guy was playing in Fulham. Fulham. Come on, man. Let's be real. Do you know how long this guy's been in this club? He's been in Arsenal for a very long time. If you're going to be talking about defenders that you want, for instance, that you're going to be calling as one of the best young defenders, is Calum Chambers going to be among your first 10? Is Calum Chambers going to get into your first 10 list? Let's be real. I don't think so. So here he says, sorry, I meant for is another player in the midfield. It was a while back, and I'm glad you mentioned consistency as well. Has never had the run of Willian or Xhaka. Listen, you're right in saying he's not had the run of Willian and Xhaka. You're totally right in saying he has not had the run. But I think Xhaka, but not Willian. Willian has only been in this club. I think Maitland-Niles has had his chance. But then again, he prefers to play in the midfield. That's his preference. He prefers to play in the midfield. I remember very well when Arsene Wenger, he's been complaining about playing in the midfield. And that game in Ostersund, Wenger decided to play him in the midfield. And he flopped. In as much as people are saying that we should not give Arteta time. I'm giving Arteta time, by the way. But a lot of people are saying that he's had enough time. So why should we be giving players time when you guys feel that we shouldn't be giving that? It's a resource business. We shouldn't be giving coaches time. So these players, they should come hit the ground running. I remember when Pepe started playing under Emery. Everyone was blaming Emery for Pepe's own errors and mistakes, right? Ljungberg came in, the same thing. Arteta came in, the same thing. Now the narrative is changing. People are now going in on Pepe. They're not blaming coaches anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? These players, they need to see what's his name? ESR, Emil Smith-Rowe, for instance. Has he not impressed you for the last 2 games? Look at Martinelli. Martinelli just came back from injury. He hit the ground running. Has Pepe not had more chances than Martinelli? Pepe has had more chances than Martinelli. But he still doesn't look impressive. If I'm going to be looking at the team right now, I'm saying, who are the first players on my first 10 players? Pepe is not going to get in it. Willian is not going to get in it. Because these guys had their chance and they took it. Look at Willock, for instance. Willock has been given the chance several times, ahead of all the other youngsters. Ahead of ESR. He's played more games ahead of ESR. But you can see there's a big difference in class. There's a big difference in intelligence. There's a big difference in the runs they make. So you can tell when a player is class. You can tell when a player knows what he's doing on the football pitch. You can tell when a player is quite intelligent on the football pitch. So listen, people say it's a results business. Fans are not patient. Fans don't have time. So why should we have time for the players to be improving? Pepe, they said it was because he needed to adapt. They said he needed to adapt. Adapt to what? Sentiment FC said free Pepe. What do you mean by free Pepe? What do you mean? Can you elucidate that? What do you mean free Pepe? Do you mean we should get rid of Pepe, or do you mean we should? What do you mean by free Pepe? Because what I've said about Pepe is the fact that I feel Pepe is not good enough. And I'm not saying that because I don't like him. I'm saying that because of what I see on the football pitch. I'm only going to speak based on what I see on the football pitch. And I'm going to be comparing him to the younger players. I'm going to be comparing him to Martinelli, who has made much impact, much more than Pepe. I'm going to be comparing him to Saka. You know, Saka was being paid £3,000. I don't even know how much he's on now. I don't know. I know they've increased his salary. I think it's about 10K. Oh, no, I think 30. Is it 30? I think it's 30K. I need to check it. I'm not sure. But that guy was on 3K. Yeah, and he has about 16 assists now since last season. The highest number of assists for the club. Do you know what I mean? And not just forget about assists, because sometimes all these assists could be deceiving. We that we watch the games on a daily basis, we see what these guys do on the pitch. We see it every day. You know, Nelson Franklin here says, do you think it's really worth 70 million? Big NO. No, absolutely not. And this is one of the problems I have currently with the transfer system in England and how inflated prices have been for players now. It's very annoying coming from someone that works hard every blessed day and seeing what they're paying for some of these players that go on there, don't pull their socks up, for we that are paying the tickets, going to the games. I don't even live in London. So you can imagine how annoying it is for me to live here almost every time to go watch the games in London. And then you see a player that is walking on the football pitch or trudging on the football pitch. Pepe doesn't work hard. Pepe doesn't impact games. Pepe, for instance, is always losing the ball when he gets it because he wants to dribble. Football is not about dribbling. Do you know what made Emil Smith-Rowe very, very good in that game? It wasn't because he was dribbling. How many times did he dribble? What he was doing was he was getting into the right spaces and releasing the ball as quick as he could, releasing the ball to the right people, doing the tiki-taka, making the right runs, giving the short passes, giving the clean passes, giving the efficient passes. Efficiency, that's the key word. Efficiency. And that's where Pepe needs to learn. Pepe needs to learn. Gunners that as Pepe had a run of 10 games to play at Arsenal, and as the system we played got the best out of him. The reason I asked that most of our attacks come down the left. Bro, Gunners that, listen, Pepe doesn't need 10 games for you to see how good he is, bruv. You don't need 10 games to see how good he is. Okay, I'm going to ask you this. Apart from the time that Martinelli played last season because of Oba's injury, has he had 10 games in a row? Please, I want you to type that. I want you to respond to this question. Has he had 10 games in a row? The reason Saka has continued playing was because he impressed within the first 2 games that he played. So why should we make an excuse for Pepe? Do you understand? Do you understand my reasoning? Why should you make an excuse for Pepe? Did Saka, before Saka had 10 games, the reason Saka kept on playing in the team is because he was playing very well. The reason Martinelli kept playing in the team was because he kept playing very well. Player of the month, banging in goals. I mean, people just don't. I mean, Arteta just, you can't just say Arteta hates Pepe. Arteta doesn't hate Pepe. Arteta is going to play people that he feels are going to, give him the best on the football pitch. Yes, maybe he made some errors with the likes of Willian. But really and truly, between Willian and Pepe, who is better? Both of them, for me, they've not done anything. Saka is playing in that position right now that Pepe and Willian are supposed to be playing. And Saka is playing very well. So when you're talking about run of games, I don't really understand what you mean by run of games, bro. You earn your place based on how you play. You don't earn your place at the detriment. Imagine this guy plays 10 games and he's playing rubbish now. Everyone will start blaming the coach that why is he playing him and he's playing rubbish. Do you understand what I'm saying? We need to put ourselves in the shoes of the coach, for instance. These guys don't have the time to be experimenting. Pepe needs to improve. It's just that simple. Pepe needs to improve. Do you know what I mean? Sentiment FC, we don't play a style or system that suits him. Fail to help him adjust to Premier League football or put players that complement him. Bro, I don't agree. I'm sorry, I don't agree with you guys on Pepe. I don't. I honestly don't. I don't. So you're telling me that 3 coaches don't know how to use him? Really? You're telling me 3 coaches don't know how to use him? Emery didn't know how to use him, right? And Emery is second in the league now in La Liga. Ljungberg didn't know how to use him, right? Arteta that had nothing to do with Arsenal. He was in Manchester City. He came. You're telling me he doesn't know how to use him as well? Come on, let's be real. Let's be real. Robertson worth 8 million. There you go. Right now, Robertson for me is the best left back in the league, as far as I'm concerned. In the world, not even the league. He's the best left back in the world, Robertson. Do you know what I mean? This is a player that's worth 8 million. Right now, that guy is probably going to be worth that 70 million that you're talking about. Because how many left backs or right backs gives you so many high assists in a season? Himself and Trent Alexander-Arnold. How many left backs or right backs will be giving you those kind of assists? And not just that, the technicality of his football game, the way he moves.
I was watching the game yesterday. The guy created so many chances. There was one he created for Firmino. Firmino messed up. This guy creates chances from deep. He has the eyes. He knows when the players are making a run, and he knows how to call those crosses. And this is the importance of the quality of crosses. This is where Bellerin and the likes needs to learn. They need to learn. Whether it's left back or right back, it doesn't matter. They need to learn. The reason why Liverpool are doing well, Liverpool don't have a 10. Don't forget. But they have a lot of quality players. Right from the back line, up top, all the players can create. They can create chances. They have an eye for the players that are making the run. They have the eyes for the players that are making the right movement. They have the eyes to be able to push the ball forward. Quality. And that's when Arteta keeps saying that you should cross the ball into the box. It doesn't mean that you should just be crossing wayward the way Bellerin does. Because let's be real, Bellerin's crosses are wayward. He's not targeting anyone. It's the quality of the crosses. And when they say crosses don't mean you have to put the ball on top. Crosses could be a ground pass. It could be a ground pass, which can go to the feet of the player. So crosses don't always have to be on top. They could be on top if you want to elude the defender, yes. Or crosses don't necessarily mean they have to be on top. And that's one of the reasons why Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson are doing well. They are very, very creative. Arsenal were foolish enough to employ Rahul, who paid 72 million including agent's fee for 40 million player. Listen, he's not even a 40 million player. I'm sorry, he's not a 40 million player. I will take Greenwood ahead of Pepe. I will take James in Manchester United ahead of Pepe. I'm being real here. I'm being real. And yes, we were foolish enough to pay some 2 million, and that's because of the structure. Thank God he's gone now, of the structure and how we, do our operations and how we do our deals. And this is one of the reasons why I felt sorry for Emery. Denis Suarez was not bought by Emery. Hope you guys know. Ramsey was not let go by Emery. Hope you guys know that. Iwobi was not let go by Emery. I just wanted you guys to know what's happening because I was lucky enough to meet the agent of Iwobi where I was playing football. And that's when I found out that Iwobi didn't even know he was going to be transferred. He was in Nigeria playing for Super Eagles. He was on his way back. And he was told he's been transferred because we're going to get 40 million for him. 40M. So just imagine you at the background doing business and a coach needs players on the football pitch that are going to do things for him and they're saying, sorry, this player has to go. It's absurd. It's absurd. Jesse PB. Hi, what's up, Jesse? Do you think we'll get Isco? First and foremost, I'm not entirely sure about Isco right now because I need to worry about his fitness. That's one. Look at Bale. Bale is a prime example of what's happening in Tottenham. Bale's fitness is not there because these guys have not seen enough football. They've not seen enough football to play. And one of the reasons why Real Madrid gets rid of many of their players is because those players are not playing well enough. I know there was a season that Isco did very well, but different coaches have different preferences. And Isco came in for Bale in Real Madrid, but now he's lost his place under the same manager. Do you know what I mean? And look at James Rodriguez, for instance. James Rodriguez played very well for Ancelotti in Real Madrid. Played absolutely well. He was a baller. But when this new coach came in, Zidane, he couldn't make the team. So, another thing about Isco that I've noticed is he's not a runner. We need athleticism in the football club. One of the reasons why Ozil is not in the team is because Ozil doesn't help defensively. We need athletic players. Forget about all that nonsense where they say you have someone behind you to protect you. What's this guy's name? Emil Smith-Rowe won 3 duels out of 4. 3 duels out of 4 in the game against Chelsea. This guy was battling Kante and he was still doing the creation. So don't come and tell me. I've seen Kevin De Bruyne do work for the team. I've seen David Silva do work for the team. That's one of the things that got imprinted in the Manchester City team because of Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola said, listen, I know you guys are creative, but I need you to do the work. I need you guys to do the work. And that's why he was successful in Barcelona and Bayern Munich. I need you guys to do the work. Football is not all about just creating and saying that is enough. It is not enough for you just to create and pass. It is not enough. What is enough is for you to fight for the team. When you fight for the team, you are appreciated more by the fans. And you're appreciated more because you're going to achieve more. It's a teamwork business. Don't say because you've done this, that's enough. There's so many players that went in Arsenal, when they lose the ball, they'll be like, don't worry, the guys behind me is gonna get it. That's stupid. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Nelson Franklin said, Will you take Haha over Pepe 2 seasons ago when he was at Lille? Who is Haha? Do you mean Zaha? You mean Zaha, right? You mean Zaha? I will definitely take Zaha. And let's be real, when they were going for Pepe, I was in support of Emery going for Zaha. I was in support of it. I was in support of it because I felt that Zaha is proven in the Premier League. I know people were saying, "Oh, he didn't have a many assists. He didn't have." You need to look at the club he plays for. How if you're playing for Crystal Palace, would it be easy for you to be creating as many chances like De Bruyne is creating? No. But you need to look at what Zaha does on the football pitch and how other players around him is going to complement him. So I was in support of Zaha. I wasn't in support of Pepe. I'm being real now. I wasn't in support of Pepe. But I was hoping if Pepe came in, he was going to prove me wrong. And now he's proven me right. He hasn't proven me wrong. He's proven me right. Do you know what I mean? Sentiment says, yes, with the players that we have, no managers didn't know how to use him properly. I would have used him how Emery did against LFC, front two or behind the striker to flow. Bruv, listen. Okay, maybe I have not explained myself to you. At the end of the day, we can always agree to disagree, bruv. That's for sure. But I will tell you my own opinion, okay? And my own opinion is as simple as this, right? I don't know if you play football, Sentiment. You can put that there. I don't know if you play football because I play football on a regular basis. And one thing that I love as a footballer is players that think about what they want to do with the ball before they get it. That's one. Players that are more team-oriented than individualistic. That's two. Players that think about efficiency on and off the ball. That's three. Those are my three ingredients on how I rate players. And one thing I've noticed, or two things I've noticed about Pepe, rather, is the fact that the first thing that comes to his mind is dribbling. That's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And I'm not even kidding you. I wish you would get on the football pitch and see me play football. Then you understand what I'm saying. Believe you me. Each time I sit down here and I'm freaking regretting why I wasn't a footballer when I see so many of the nonsense that I see on the football pitch. And that's a different story because I'm African. So obviously I needed to focus on my education. You can understand that. I needed to focus on my education. That's why I didn't play football. But I've been in the football business. I've played in different local teams in Nigeria and here in the UK as well. I've played in local teams. We've played different games and but I needed to focus on my studies and stuff. And I remember very well one of the coaches I had, his name is Ojo Baba, back in Kaduna, back in Nigeria. This guy, whenever we play, we only play 2-touch, 3-touch football. And the idea of playing 2-touch, 3-touch football is mainly so that you are team-oriented. You're always thinking about your man. It's a team sport. You have to think about your man on and off the ball. So say, for instance, you've made your 2-touch already, which simply means you can't touch the ball anymore. What you can then do is now to guard the ball, protect the opponent from getting the ball, and buying time for your teammate to come get the ball from you. The idea of 2-touch, 3-touch football is for you to be team-oriented. And that's one thing that I have a problem with Pepe on. Pepe is too individualistic. He's always thinking about beating the man instead of thinking about what to do with the ball and how it's going to benefit the team. And if you look at how many turnovers we get from Pepe, I can't count it, but so many times in every game, there are so many turnovers from Pepe, and that's not acceptable. So it's not about how you use him. It's about him improving on certain aspects of his game. You cannot make fire out of wet fire. I keep saying this. You cannot be more than what you are. You cannot be more than what you are. The coach is there to help you, but you are there to improve yourself as a football player. I don't know how old you are, but if you think about when Ronaldo came to Manchester United, let's think back to when he came to Manchester United. This guy was doing stupid flicks and tricks, similar to what Pepe was doing. Ferguson, I remember very well, Ferguson told him to cut that nonsense out, to stop it. You're there doing flicks and tricks for who? To what? For who? For what purpose? It's not going to help anybody. Do you know what I mean? So those are things that are not necessary in football. It is only necessary for you to dribble when you have to. Look at Saka, for instance. Saka dribbles when he has to. Saka doesn't dribble because he wants to play with the ball. He wants to just play around. No, he dribbles when he has to. He beats a man when he has to. The last game we played against Brighton, look at the flick around Brown. He did that because he needed to get away from the man. Pepe does it as a habit. He needs to stop that. Do you get me? He needs to stop that. So I'm not looking at saying you saying that they don't play me right. No, he needs to improve certain personality traits. He needs to cut out so many habits and improve on himself. Please and please, I want you to watch this guy properly. This is not about being used. Watch him when he's on the ball and what he wants to do with the ball. He loses the ball too often. That's not acceptable. That's not a coach's fault. He needs to improve on that, bro. He needs to. I'm going to be rounding up very soon. I still have a few comments to go through. Gunners, I said, bro, when you have a live call in, would love to discuss Pepe as too much typing. Oh, yes, Gunnar does. Honestly, yeah, let's see how it goes. I mean, you're always on here. I did that the last time, but no one joined. So I'm gonna do that maybe after our game, a day after tomorrow. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll try and put a link. I always tell you guys beforehand. Anyways, I'm gonna put a link, and then you guys can come in, and I want to hear your opinions. Really, let me just read your comments. When you have a live call in, I would love to discuss Pepe as much. Too much typing. I don't think the system suits Pepe. Wenger would get more out of Pepe, and so would Klopp. I think it's lack of coaching. I still disagree with you though, but listen, I've talked too much about Pepe. I'm even getting tired of talking about it. Okay. Klopp system bangs, bare injuries, bare square pegs in round holes, and it's still effective. Listen, I want you to have a clear look at Klopp's system and also the players, because I think the difference between my opinion and Yupu's opinion right now is the fact that you guys think Pepe is good enough. And he could be good enough eventually. Don't get me wrong. I don't want you guys to say, oh, I said he's not. No, right now, he's not good enough. He is not good enough right now. So many other aspects of his game, which I said earlier, I don't want to go over everything I said again. If you look at the Liverpool players, they are very efficient with the ball. With the ball. Mane is efficient with the ball. Salah is efficient with the ball, although Salah is still one of the few people that tries to dribble a lot of players, and he's still very efficient on the ball. Pepe is not efficient on the ball. Efficiency is key. Key. That's the truth. Gunners that Palace has a system for Zaha to excel. Look at Zaha's time at Manchester United. Zaha's time at Manchester United is the reason why he left Manchester United, Gunners that. So I don't really understand what you're saying. If he was that good, he would have stayed at Manchester United. He wasn't good enough. That's why they left him. They threw him out. He wasn't good enough then. And then he went somewhere else to improve. And mind you, in Crystal Palace, every ball goes to Zaha because he's the main man. Every ball goes to Zaha, and that's how we see more of him. But he's improved, don't get me wrong. Not anymore. Varsity football was my last level. Well, shit happens, man. Shit happens. I like flair players like Pepe. Maverick ballers unpredictable. Jack Grealish is number one. Not sure Ateta does. See, this is the thing. You look at Jack Grealish, for instance. Jack Grealish is more efficient with his dribbles. You can't compare Pepe with Jack Grealish, for instance. Jack Grealish is more efficient on the ball. It's about efficiency. It's not about doing tricks and failing. And even when you do tricks and fail, follow up the ball. Look against Brighton. Saka tried to dribble him and he lost the ball. He followed up the ball and got the ball back. That's what a coach wants to see on the touchline. If I'm a coach on the touchline, that's what I want to see. If I'm a teammate on the football pitch, that's what I want to see. Don't leave your responsibilities for me. It's annoying. When I have teammates around me, they lose the ball and they don't care to run after the ball, I get very, very angry. I don't like to see those sort of things. It's quite annoying. It's distasteful. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, I hear what you guys are saying. I really do. But I still believe that these players can actually improve a bit better in what they do on the football pitch. And I think there is only a certain amount of things a coach can do. A coach cannot force you to improve in certain areas. There are certain areas you need to improve in your game. And for me, I've seen enough of Pepe to tell me he needs to improve on certain personal traits in his football game. So I'm just going to take this last comment. Klopp is a better coach with better system. As why players look better than ours, it's unfair to compare. Listen, obviously, I cannot contest the fact that Klopp is a better coach. Klopp has actually won Champions League and everything. But I still maintain that Pepe needs to improve, and I'm gonna keep saying that. It's just that simple. I'm just gonna keep saying that. I mean, I don't know why you're making excuses for this guy. I don't know what this guy has done to impress you. He does maybe one thing in 2 games and you're happy about it. I don't think so. I want consistency. I really want consistency in my football club. But listen, Sentiment FC, Gunners, Dad, I really appreciate you guys' comment. You guys have been quite helpful. I guess, like I said before, this is the last broadcast for the year. We're going to be getting into 2021 in a few minutes. I'm going to be doing a little party by myself here. And listen, guys, thanks a lot for joining. I really, really appreciate you guys. I really do. And I guess from me, it's going to be Happy New Year in advance. And make sure you don't drink and drive. See you guys later.
Hey, are you enjoying the content? Well, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe. What are you waiting for? Stop looking at me. Subscribe now. Come on. How is the channel going to grow if you don't subscribe? Help a brother. Thank you very much.